Hello and welcome to episode 532 of Fergo and the Freak. I'm that bloke from Rugby League Project, Andrew Ferguson. You can find me on Twitter at AndrewRLP. Join me as always is the glorious LeagueFreak. You can also find on Twitter at LeagueFreak. How you going there, mate?
Going very well, Andrew, because New South Wales won the State of Origin series. We are the greatest state in the world. I think that's been proven now, finally. And I just wanted to say, shout out to Jackie. We did it, Jackie. We fucking did it, Jackie.
What about Adrian?
Adrian can get stuffed. Because, yeah. We fucking did it, Jackie.
There we go. We would have started recording this probably about 20 minutes earlier.
Yeah.
We won't bring in my technological issues.
You had to chase a cat with a broom.
I did, and now I'm calling from the war zone.
Yeah.
But Freaky decided he wanted to watch the Shield being handed to the Blues, and that's fine.
I got this. It's kind of like a fetish. I like seeing teams I support get handed trophies, and that's why I bust all the time, because it gets fulfilled.
I actually don't know what this weird ceremony is.
Yeah. It's a bit strange, Andrew.
Yeah.
It's the sight of polished brass on top of wood. Just gets me fucking rigid.
That's fair.
Yeah.
I can't watch. I can't watch Mitchell Moses collecting silverware, so I don't bother watching that.
He's probably out for the rest of the season.
I'll give him.
Ruptured his fucking bicep in this game, late in the game too. Unfortunate.
Oh, he's got biceps. Oh, that's nice to know.
Yeah.
Well, he's only got one now.
Yeah. that's a bit rough, but anyway.
Yeah, there's another one there. No, it was a. I must admit, I missed a bit of the second half because I was doing day duties. But what's the first half? Very, very entertaining first half. I'll say that much.
Mm-hmm.
Very hard to enjoy it because Andrew Johns. I legitimately cannot listen to that man commentate anymore. It's like he's trying to mimic Phil Gould as a commentator and doing a worse job. And Phil Gould is not doing a good job to start with.
Yeah. It was funny. There was one point where I think Danica Mason talked about Reece Walsh had a bit of a leg injury. And then 20 minutes later, Andrew Johns like, has Reece Walsh got a leg injury? It's like, yeah, we've been talking about that, Andrew. Keep up. But it was, that Channel 9's presentation is fucking terrible. And it very much in the first, say, 20 minutes, 30 minutes of the match, we kept on missing things because they were going to adverts and showing replays and stuff. They're just a terrible broadcaster. But thankfully, the game itself was actually incredible. The first half was very tough, played at 1,000,000 miles an hour. Come down to, it looked like it was going to be 0-0 going into halftime. And then Spencer Leniu gave away a bit of a bad penalty, and Queensland took the 2 points. And then in the second half, New South Wales got a penalty early on. Went back to a bit of a grinding style of footy, but then the game started to open up as fatigue set in. And then the great winner of our generation, Jerome Luai, broke the game open, put a pass on to Bradman Best, who managed to actually hold on to the ball for once, scored a try, and it felt like that kind of broke Queensland a little bit. And not too long after that, Mitch Moses crossed for a try himself, ran the ball, and that was it. It was all over. New South Wales just kept grinding away after that, and Queensland didn't score a try at Lang Park. Oh, dearie me.
Yeah, that's pretty bad.
Yeah, that sucks, hey?
It would. It probably would. Oh, man. Can you hear that dog barking?
No, I can't.
Oh, thank goodness for that.
Yeah, don't worry. We can't hear anything.
It's all I can hear. That's good. I'm glad you can't.
Yeah.
We can leave it in there. Who cares? Now, look, there's an issue I've got with Bradman Best, and it's not so much Bradman Best, the human being himself.
Mm-hmm.
And this is going to sound like I'm hitting a recurring theme here. I couldn't properly judge his performance because every time I was watching him, all I could hear was Andrew Johns fapping.
It's a bit like that. But
God, it was tedious. I was like, even when he drops the ball, it's like someone else's issue, or he's in the wrong spot, someone else's issue. And Bradman Best, every time he made like just a standard hit up, oh, you almost got thrown. Can we just fucking calm down? He had a good game. I'm not taking anything away from him. He had a good game. But the way Joey was carrying on was like he was watching the reincarnation of Mal Meninga.
Yeah, Andrew Johns he is what he is at this point.
Well, I tolerated the first two games, but it just felt like he ramped up the complete shitheadery, fuckwittery, biased, atrocious commentatory bullshit to 35. Man, he was just unbearable. He was killing it for me. Yeah, I'd look up every now and then and I thought, I can't sit here and study this. It's just driving me crazy. I'm just going to have to watch it in bits and pieces so I don't get dragged into his bullshit. But I did find that Best had a bit of a mixed game, especially with his handling.
Yeah.
He didn't drop a lot of ball, but he dropped a lot of key ball.
Yeah, you just can't drop the ball in State of Origin. Like every drop is basically a key drop. And, you know, when you make a half break and then you drop the ball, and it's like, it's just so much pressure gets relieved from that. But yeah, look, he made up for it. He scored a powerful try off the back of that try assist by Jerome Luai. So, you know, and he's probably drinking a beer right now and cuddling the trophy, just like Jerome Luai does, because Jerome Luai, let's face it, he is Queensland's father, just like he is Parramatta's father and England's father as well. We can't forget that. Remember when he was England's father? How funny was that?
That was funny. That was, and you know what? I think "was" is the wrong word.
Oh, well, it currently is.
It's still very, very amusing.
Yeah, it is.
I was going to say, let's get into the first half, all right? A very, very strong first half as far as defense goes.
Yeah.
It's amazing. That game went for basically 40 minutes that first half without a single point being scored until a penalty goal on half time.
Yep.
But it was still very open attacking footy.
Mm-hmm.
But defensively, it wasn't just decent defense that was keeping the score 0-0. The hits were the hardest I've seen in Origin for a while. And technically good hard hits.
Yeah.
They're out there and they're trying to take each other's head off. They were hitting them hard and legal, and it was very, very good to watch. I like that. So there was an incident where Luai and DCE had a little bit of a touchy-feely of the face moment.
Yeah.
I thought what those two were doing really wasn't that big of a deal.
No, neither did I.
And then Nanai came in with an absolute fucking dog shot into the back of Luai's back.
Mm-hmm.
And that escalated everything. So I applaud Klein for sending him to the bin, because he was the reason why that whole incident escalated.
Yes.
Murray, I think, did run in from a bit too far away to get involved, so I'm okay with him being binned.
But was he on was he on the field and then went to the bench as it was all being sorted out, or was he already on the bench? Because if he was already on the bench and he got involved in that fight, he should have been sent off.
I would agree with that. I need to check it again, because if he's on the bench and he's got involved in that, I
heard Klein say if he was on the bench, he's off, right? Now, I don't know if he was just saying send off or sin bin, but but he might have gone from the field of play to the bench as the referees were sorting it out, in which case I kind of understand the decision. So,
I do think so when he goes to judiciary, he's probably going to find himself getting a bigger punishment than Nanai will.
Not if he was on the field at the time of the indiscretion, but if he was on the bench, he should be.
Yeah, that's what I meant to add. Yeah, if he was from the bench, then they'll take a very dim view to that.
Yeah.
but I think Klein handled that one rather well. He does cop a lot of shit. He did handle that moment rather well, I thought. He got the right people and he dealt with it pretty well.
I think the only reason he cops shit is because he's a fucking putrid referee. That's all.
I'm not going to get into too much. I've not been a huge fan of his in the past, but I've always refrained from getting too nasty when it comes to having a crack at him or any other ref.
I would say technically, he's the worst fucking referee I've ever seen.
That's fair. I wonder though, do you think that might be because of the time he spent in his formative years as a referee being in England?
100%.
So we should probably blame England more than Klein then.
I'm not one to blame England for many things, but I will blame them for this.
So Klein he would be an absolutely brilliant referee if it hadn't have been for England.
I don't know. He seems like one of those guys that likes to make things about himself on the field.
But that doesn't sound like a British referee thing.
It does. But it seems like technically he's fucking terrible.
Well, as I said, that's an English thing.
Yeah.
What do they do that's technically brilliant?
Nothing. Mushy peas. It ends there.
They stick them in a can, so they ruin that anyway.
Exactly. The first half, what it showed was that you can have an amazing, great, exciting, attacking game of football and not need 1 million points on the board. And it would be the number one example I would ever give to somebody when we start getting to a point where defence is coming back into the NRL a lot more through whatever teams are doing at the time. And, you get some fucking official saying, points per game are down by 3.5 per game. And people don't like that. They like seeing attacking football. Tonight showed you can have an incredible half of attacking football and only have 2 points put on the board and be satisfied by it, Pure points on the board doesn't necessarily mean the attack is great. And both those teams were attacking their ass off, and both those teams were defending their ass off as well. And that's what we saw. It was a fantastic half of footy. But then that second half by New South Wales, they just had a little bit more in them. And I think that one of the things that I felt was that I think that this Queensland reminds me of a lot of last year's Queensland team. But the problem is that last year's New South Wales team were a failed coaching setup and failed attacking structures and stuff like that. I think Michael Maguire come in and he sorted all of that out. He made some different selections. The team looked much more balanced. It looked better as the series went on. And I think that that's what you saw with these two teams is that Queensland really didn't have another gear to go to, whereas New South Wales did. And I think that's why we got the series win, coming from 1-0 down in the series to win the last two games. That's fantastic, especially when the last game was in Queensland.
Yeah, I think though, we probably discussed it in the very first episode, talking about Origin this year, was Maguire actually went and selected actual players who are actual specialists in their actual position they were picked in.
Yeah, pretty much.
Wouldn't you fucking know it? It worked. Who would have thunk it? Who would have thunk it?
It's like it happens every time, hey?
It's amazing the regularity in which playing people in their actual positions actually works.
I tell you what, one thing that stood out for me again, and I looked this up, Jake Trbojevic only played 23 minutes, and it was the first 23 minutes, and he wasn't used again in the game. I think that's probably his last State of Origin game.
I will say this, though, okay. In that 23 minutes, he did make 15 tackles, which is not too bad, but that's about it.
Yeah.
That's about it. He made 19 metres. Another player who did absolutely bugger all was Felice Kafusi.
Oh, yeah.
He was part of the front row rotation.
He played 18 minutes. And I didn't see him. He just was missing an action.
He made 4 meters and 7 tackles.
To be fair, it was a tough 4 meters.
And it was 4 meters from 2 runs. I mean, fuck. And oh man, this is the weird thing too about this is that Slater shuffled his front row around prior to kickoff.
Yeah.
So, and I don't know why. Because this is the thing, Cotter and Collins have been playing really big minutes in the first 2 games.
Yeah.
And they were very productive minutes for both of them. They were making plenty of meters. They were doing a lot of defense, especially in that second game. And to me, neither of them had shown anything to suggest that they shouldn't be playing as the starting front rowers. And in this game, Cotter played 50 minutes instead of 70, I think, in the last 2, and Collins only played 31 minutes. And to me, especially when both sides had a person in the sin bin, how have you got one of your front rowers only playing 30 minutes? After he's been playing, let's be honest, Collins has had a pretty good State of Origin series.
Yeah, he's been solid, yeah.
Why would you only have him playing 30 minutes? That just seems nuts.
Yeah, I don't get it. I don't get it at all. But look, they made so many changes coming into this game, which gave me confidence in New South Wales. And, you know, that it'll be interesting to see what Billy Slater does for the next series, because I think he needs to do a little bit more than he did with this series. I think he come into this series just steady as she goes, and I understand it because it's worked so many times for Queensland, but I think that he needs more attack in his side for the next series. I thought Dearden was very good defensively in this game. But
he's a pretty good defensive player.
But Ezra Mam needs to be there just for some attack, just to worry New South Wales. DCE had another poor game for Queensland, but I'm going to give him one more series if I'm Queensland. And the Callum Ponga off the bench, I think that he had to come in much earlier.
Where did he go? What did he do?
He just didn't really do much. He sort of hung out there on the left-hand side, and that was it. Like, there wasn't really much that he did.
Because I'm trying to figure out where he might have slotted into the field. Like, was he playing as a second rower or something, like on that edge somewhere? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't remember who they took off to put him on, but it felt like one of those moves that happens when you go into a game with an idea of how you hope it plays out, and it doesn't play out like that, but you've got your bench set up for how you hoped it played out. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Because that's the thing. The entire back 7, they all played the whole game, so none of the backline reshuffled. 25. And Grant and Hunt covered the entire hooking roles.
Yeah.
So and Carrigan played the entire game at lock. So he must have been second row somewhere. Which is just nuts.
Yeah, it is. And look, it's good if you're on top and you're about to finish the game off, but New South Wales were on top when Ponga come on, and it's just the worst situation it could have happened in, So we've seen New South Wales do that in the past. You think of when we had Gutherson on the bench, which is so dumb to think about. So, I mean, even when we had Nico Hines on the bench, that was ridiculous as well. But, it's going to be interesting to see, because Billy Slater now is when he'll do his coaching job with Queensland, because he I think the steady as she goes thing isn't going to be good enough next year, now that New South Wales has a coach that is selecting form players in their position.
Yeah. I'm actually wondering if DC will even play rep footy next year.
Well, he'll be 36.
Yeah, I reckon he might just retire from Origin at the end of this season.
He might, yeah. Then, I mean, I could see where they would move maybe Dearden into the halves and then have Ezra Mam outside of him.
Exactly.
You can't put Walker in there. Walker's too small. New South Wales will just trample him.
No, and Dearden does have that fact that he's a very good defender.
Yeah.
You need that. But you also can't be leaving Mam out, and you can't have him as a bench player either. He has to be on the field, and he has to be getting plenty of ball.
Yeah, exactly. And look, we've seen him in big games. He gets the job done.
Yes.
It's
I also wonder whether they should drop the whole Ben Hunt at hooker thing.
I think it works, right? It works. I was very interested to see that they switched it around again so that Harry Grant was starting and Ben Hunt come off the bench. The problem was when Ben Hunt come off the bench, he almost immediately got knocked senseless. I think that hurt them. So, but I thought that they look better balanced when Grant starts and Hunt comes off the bench for me.
Yeah, Grant, I think is just he's a better defender because it's his natural position as well.
Yeah.
So he's born to be. I mean, you want a good example of his good defense. That hit up that I keep forgetting his name. Front row from the Blues that came off the bench.
Oh, Barnett.
No, the former Panther.
Oh, Spencer Leniu.
Yeah, Leniu. Stormed onto a bloody hit up. And Harry Grant just took him on front on and brought him down to it. Man, that takes a set of nuts.
Yeah, definitely.
And Grant just got back up. He got absolutely plowed. Just popped back up, went into second marker, and got ready for the next tackle. And that's a bloke whose body is hardened to making a lot of tackles.
Yeah.
Whereas if that had been Ben Hunt there, he would have got completely monstered.
Well, look what he hit. Ben Hunt went in for a similar sort of hit, and he got knocked out, unfortunately. So, which happens sometimes. But I like that rotation, and if they went with that rotation for the Australian team, I wouldn't be upset about it. But yeah, I think you got to start Grant and have Hunt come off the bench. Personally, I think that's the way it works best.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Going into this game too, Queensland bench was really light.
Yeah, it was, and look, I think that goes back to Billy Slater wanting to have the steady as she goes thing, where I think you need to go after it. If you've got form players, there was a lot of talk about Fafita not being in the side. You don't know all of the facts behind why Slater has chosen not to go with Fafita, but I tell you what, I wouldn't have liked to have seen him coming off the bench as a New South Welshman. And some of they had a lot of dudes that were either toilers or, they started with guys that are line runners. I think of someone like Nanai, and he just didn't get into the game at all because he was just forced to tackle all game, Yeah. So that they were kind of neutralised. Their best attackers were neutralised. And I think the thing with New South Wales is that the guys that we have that are able to get through a lot of work defensively, they've also got that attacking game as well. You don't have to pick one or the other. Apart from Jake Trbojevic, who you kind of get there for his defence and then don't use him because he can't. I mean, even when he ran the ball, there was nothing there in attack for him. So you can't carry players in State of Origin. I can't believe either state does it still. It's crazy to me.
Yeah, I've not seen anything from Jake Trbojevic in his entire series to suggest that A, he should have been picked, and B, let alone be captain.
Yeah.
They got away with it, but next year, just no. You can't have that.
No.
That was nuts.
Now, the player of the series, they gave it to Angus Crichton, and he played great in this series. I personally would have given it to Jerome Luai. I thought Luai was outstanding. And I think in this game, you saw a lot of the best things about him in terms of he can dominate a game defensively. He's got great mobility. He's a big hitter in defense for someone his size. But then he also broke the game open with his running game as well. And I just thought his series was outstanding. I absolutely love it when a 3-time champion and premiership winning 5'8" and someone that single-handedly took Samoa to a World Cup final. When you watch him after all that, people go, you know what, this Jerome Luai, he's got some playmaking skills. It's fucking hilarious.
And then there's the other people still sitting going, no, fuck Luai.
Yeah. It's he just gets carried. It's so dumb. It's so fucking stupid.
I'm not too opposed to Crichton getting it.
Yeah, neither am I. I think it between him him and Luai were the ones that stood out for me above probably everyone else in terms of their consistency in this series. And the games that New South Wales won in particular, they were outstanding for both games.
Yeah, absolutely. Shall we get into your ratings?
Okay, let me grab my ratings off my award-winning website, LeagueFreak.com. Let me just open up my phonesies. Jason, tell my phono.
So you might have to change that phone's name soon.
Why?
Tom Malolo hasn't really been doing much of late.
He is still one of the greats in the game. Okay, you ready? We'll do New South Wales first, eh?
Yeah, go for it.
Dylan Edwards, I gave him 8. He was outstanding.
Is it just me or, follically challenged fullbacks for New South Wales, just absolutely brilliant.
We got him. You got Tim Brasher.
Yeah.
I don't think you could say Brett Hodgson was.
No, he had plenty.
Challenged, yeah. Who else has there been?
That's it.
Yeah. It's drawn a long bow.
He's in rare air, but two of the absolute greats.
Yeah.
Absolute winners for New South Wales. Yes, I'd give him an 8 as well. Edwards has been great in both games.
You know what? When you think about it, the games are very similar. Tim Brasher had more of that, like, top-end speed about him. But outside of that, the games are kind of similar, hey?
Very similar.
I never thought of that.
I must admit, the reason why I raised it is because I was watching Edwards tonight and he looked more like Brasher. Not so much the game 2. Just this game, he looked a lot more like Brasher. Like, he was just, like some of the key features of Brasher's game, just always where the ball was going to be when it got kicked. But a kick very rarely ever got past him. Mm-hmm. Really good goal line defense. Chimed into the back line nicely all the time whenever he was needed. He never overplayed his hand. Didn't try and do too much shit as well. He knew when to run, knew when to pass. And yeah, I think the difference is Edwards probably has a better straight running game, whereas Brasher had more speed to actually run around his man.
Yeah, that's probably right, yeah. And Edwards' straight running game is not like hit up straight. It's like he runs up, gets to the line, does this little bit of footwork that just is enough to slip around defenders and break through things and stuff too.
Yeah, and I think Edwards is stronger through the hips, so he can bump off defenders by running at them a lot better than what Brasher would have done. I think Brasher just needed to use his pace to get around them, and he had it.
Yeah.
But that's the only real difference. I just see a lot of similarities between the two of them, and I love watching Edwards play. He's brilliant, man.
I've never thought of that. Hey, so Edwards I gave 8. If you had given him man of the match, I wouldn't have complained. He was very good.
I probably would have given him man of the match to this game, to be honest.
Brian To'o, I gave him a 7. Queensland did not kick to him. They just refused to kick to him. The one time they did kick to him, and this is the beauty of Brian To'o, Daly Cherry Evans went for a 40-20, and you're like, but To'o was already there. Like, he defensively, he might be one of the best defensive fullbacks I've ever seen. He doesn't get beaten by kicking the ball over his head, which is some sort of miracle because he's not a tall dude. He hits like a truck, and his reads are just brilliant in terms of defense, but he's always in the right place at the right time when even like a kick out of nowhere goes in, like he's there every single time. It's kind of incredible. But they didn't kick to him, still got through a ton of work like he always does.
I mean, here's a classic stat to prove that, okay?
Okay.
154 metres he made today.
Yeah.
21 were kick return metres.
There you go. And like a lot of it, so he was hitting it up off the first tackle basically for most of those, and just outstanding. Like Penrith's so lucky to have a player like him. Bradman Best, I gave a 6 because it was, as we talked about, it was a mixed bag. He scored when he needed to, but he did drop some really bad balls there, unfortunately. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think that's a perfect score. I think he was he did look dangerous.
Yeah.
But yeah, his hands did betray him a few times, which didn't help.
Stephen Crichton, I gave an 8. Just another one of those big game performances. You know, when the game's on the line, you feel like he's running the ball every second time and in the right place at the right time, making defensive reads, just doing all that Stephen Crichton stuff that we've come to know and love. I gave Zach Lomax a 7. He played pretty well in this game. It wasn't like his last game where he was really, really good, but he didn't do anything wrong. He was, you know, they tried to get a lot of attacking kicks to him, but Queensland really shut it down well. Jake Trbojevic.
They also made sure that Lomax didn't have too many kicks his way either, because he only made 12 kick return meters more than Tuo and also made 164 meters running. So,
yeah.
Queensland were making a concerted effort not to kick to the Blues wingers, and they still made over 150 metres each.
Yeah. So
they're doing a work out the back there.
And that's what you need, yeah. Jerome Luai, gave him a 9. I thought he was absolutely outstanding. Really, I think he affected the Queensland team quite a bit. And he shut down DCE. Like, he just turned him off in this game. It was incredible. Mitch Moses, I gave 7. Once again, there was a bit of a mixed bag for him. But he did score that that outstanding try where there wasn't much going on, and he went for it anyway, and he scored, and that was basically the ball game.
And that came because he's gone back to running straight more than sideways. When he's running straight, he is very dangerous, and he's done that these last 2 Origin games, and he's looked far better than his opposite.
I don't think he's going to play again this year.
No, he probably won't. But
I wonder if he starts. I wonder if we start hearing whispers about he wants to leave Parramatta. I just have a feeling out of nothing. It's based on nothing, but I just have a feeling.
The Roosters will pick him up.
I would, you know who I'd say, and I said this a few weeks ago, Brisbane. I'd think that if he went to Brisbane, that'd be a good move for him. Or what if he went and played outside of Cleary?
What if he went to the Dolphins? No, not Dolphins. No, he'd probably go to Souths.
Souths.
Yeah.
I think that he would want to win. I think he'd want to go somewhere where he felt like it was almost finished and he'd be the finishing touch to win a premiership, and I don't think Souths are that.
He probably wants to get one more premiership than his uncle.
Yeah, that'd be good. Okay, where are we at? Jake Trbojevic, I gave him 3. It's his last Origin game. Reece Robson, he was the 7. He was very good defensively, but he gave away 2 of the dumbest fucking head-high penalties, and it just gifted Queensland 2 points when the game was it was balanced. So that hurt him. Payne Haas, I gave him 8. He was outstanding.
What was your rating for Robson?
Robson was 7.
7?
Yeah.
I would have given him probably 6 because I think he got outplayed by Connor Watson.
Okay. Look, Robson doesn't do much in attack. He just doesn't. But I thought he was very good defensively, see.
Yeah, that's fair.
Payne Haas gave 8. Liam Martin gave a 7. He was very good again. Wasn't like last game where he was just, killing them. But, it was a very good game anyway. Angus Crichton. Hey?
He was a bit more controlled.
Yeah, he was.
Even though he's still unhinged, it was controlled unhinged.
I also think Queensland defended him a little bit better than they did in game 2.
They really did. They pushed up hard on him so that he didn't get to storm into him too much more.
Yeah. Angus Crichton, I gave 8.
I probably would give him 9, man. He just... Oh, wow. He and Yo were absolutely dominant in that Blues pack, and they couldn't be contained on the edge. Yo especially was just... I mean, we'll get into him, but man, they couldn't. They could not stop him, and Crichton was just a menace again.
Cam Murray, I gave him 7. Little bit like the difference between last game and this game. Last game, I gave him, I think, an 8 or a 9. This game, he was a little bit more subdued than that, but getting through a lot of defence like most players in this game were. 7's a good rating on my ratings list. Connor Watson off the bench, I gave him a 6. He came in very late. He was okay. He didn't stuff it up. Isaiah Yeo, I gave a 7. He come off the bench. He was very good, especially later in the game.
I 8.
Would you? He did captain's challenge, which was just threw away the captain's challenge. It was terrible.
I know, but I mean, he was on for 58 minutes, 174 meters.
So that's more than I expected him to have gotten.
Yeah, and he still made 30 tackles, I think.
Yeah, I've seen him do more in attack. That's all.
Oh no, it's just that I think he was being used as a front row rotation player.
Yeah.
And so he definitely filled that job out, which someone with his frame probably shouldn't be doing, but he did it comfortably.
Yeah.
He's just another player I love watching.
Mitch Barnett, I gave 8. He was outstanding off the bench. Called on pretty early on compared to what he thought, because Angus Crichton went off with a head knock, which was probably just getting his neck jarred, to be honest. But he come on and was just outstanding, big body, did the job just perfectly. It was great.
Yep.
Spencer Leniu, I gave 6. He was, once again, not as good as he was in the last game. Got sucked into giving away a real bad penalty just before halftime. And yeah, I thought his 6 was fine. 6 is like average. 6 is, he still played all right. So that's all of the New South Wales players. Should we have a look at the absolute losers from Queensland?
I mean, we have to. I mean, that's what people want to hear, is us laughing.
Yeah. Yeah. Look, I know that they didn't even score one try at Lang Park, but we should still go through their ratings.
I should say too, the one of the stats for them is Queensland's record when it comes to deciders is ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's been 22 deciders played. They've won 15. New South Wales won 5. The other 2 were drawn, and those 2 draws ended up giving Queensland the title as well.
Yeah.
So their record in deciders is insane. So for them to completely bottle it at home and not score a try at home as well, pathetic.
Really is. And look, let's face it, we don't really care about rugby league history on this podcast, do we? I mean, it's all about what you've done lately.
Well, this is right. You can't change what you've done in the past.
Okay, here we go. Reece Walsh, 4.
That's
defensively terrible. Always out of position the whole game. Did nothing in attack. I gave him a 4.
There were a few times I watched him when he went to the line and he was trying to do this thing where he was holding up a pass.
Yeah.
And he was delaying it a little bit to try and get the receiver of the pass halfway through the gap before they got the ball. And I think I saw him do this 2 or 3 times. Every time he threw the pass, the bloke who was supposed to receive it gave up on the play.
Yeah.
Because it was too far gone. He waited too long. It just turned the ball over through pushing that pass when he shouldn't have done, because it was never on at that stage. You got to know when the play has died, and he keeps pushing for the play to try and make it work, and he completely stuffed it a bunch of times there. So yeah, 4 is definitely fair.
Reece Walsh must be really sick and tired of looking across at Jerome Luai winning things, hey? Selwyn Cobbo.
And also having better hair.
Very true. Very true. Selwyn Cobbo, I gave a 6. He kept looking for work, and every time around the ball, someone absolutely blasted him. But he kept looking for work, which was good.
Yes.
Dane Gagai, kind of similar. He tried hard, but he kept getting smashed, and the game didn't really go his way in the attacking side of things. Like, the ball just didn't really come to him too much. So I gave him a 5.
I probably would have given him a 7, to be honest. I think he was close to Queensland's best. He made 26 tackles, 130 odd meters. I see Dane Gagai as the modern day Dale Shearer.
Yeah, so do I.
Doesn't matter what his club form is. You put a maroon jumper on him, he's going to come out and he's just going to be brilliant.
I just think everything he did, he had to go looking for it rather than it being good plays set up for him. You know what I mean?
He did, and that's probably why I rate him a bit higher, because he and Cobbo especially had to go looking for that all the time. And when they were looking for it, it was basically being thrown upon them anyway, but just the forwards were not laying a platform for them.
Yeah, that's true. The Hammer I gave a 6. He didn't look for as much work, but the game just didn't go the way of their outside backs for the last 2 games. It was kind of strange.
No, I agree.
Valentine Holmes, I gave him a 4. Almost an MIA performance by him. Dearden.
Yeah.
Sorry?
I can't argue with that.
Dearden, I gave him a 7, mostly for his defensive work. He did make a couple of half breaks here and there. And it's much better than his last game that he had, which was good to see.
Yeah, no, he did have a good 7 is definitely a good score for him. Absolutely.
DCE, I gave him a 5.
Yeah, I'd probably give him a 4.5, to be honest.
That would be fair as well.
All I saw from him was very little platform laying, and he just, if it didn't look like it was working for him, he just ran. And when there's no one running around you as a halfback, you're just you're burning a tackle, because now you're not in the line to set up the next play.
The good news is that every second weekend he gets to see Jerome Luai, and that's how the parental arrangements work. Ruben Cotter, I gave him an 8. I thought that, considering the way he was dominated in the last game, this game I thought he really he went all out and just was very, very good. Tackled hard. It was a real tough game for both sets of forwards. I thought he was very good in this game.
Yeah, and he made 53 tackles, almost 100 metres.
Yeah.
Like genuine tradesman performance. So, yeah, that's definitely fair.
Keep in mind, I've got the starting lineup that was named earlier in the week here. So Ben Hunt, who actually come off the bench, is next. And I gave him a 5. And keeping in mind, he did get knocked out early on in his first stint. So that accounts for probably a lower performance by him in this game.
I'd probably give him a 4.
Okay. Lindsay Collins gave him a 7. He come off the bench. When he come on, it made a real big difference to Queensland. And I thought 7 was fair. Yeah,
how was that play that he basically saved a try in the corner there? Like, why is a front row out on the sideline?
Yeah, exactly. Kurt Capewell, I gave a 4. You didn't have to worry about him in attack, did you?
No. Given he played majority of the game, he does this an awful lot though, even at club level. He's almost British-like for a second rower.
It doesn't suck that badly.
No, more. I was thinking not so much about sucking, but more about pops up when the opportunity's there. Like David Fafita does this a fair bit. He's not there when the hard work needs to be done, but he's there when the fancy stuff needs to be done.
Soft is what you're saying.
No, that's John Bateman. This is Kurt Capewell. It's not soft, but just he tends to come up a bit more often when there's an opportunity for a break or something like that to happen. That tends to be when he gets used a lot more. You're not going to see him doing, 50 odd tackles in a game or that sort of tradesman-like performance that you often hear about. That's not his method.
Jeremiah Nanai, I gave him a 6. It wasn't his sort of game. A 4. Wow. I just think he was forced to just get through tackles, and he's a ball runner, and it just wasn't his sort of game.
He only made 30 metres.
Yeah.
In our play.
Yeah. Pat Carrigan, I gave an 8. I thought he was outstanding. Once again.
Huge performance, man. Most metres for Queensland with 150. Most tackles was 61. Come on. And he did that in 69 minutes.
Yeah, he's a giant dude making that many tackles too.
That's a phenomenal effort, mate. That's almost like former New South Wales captain, Origin winning captain, was up there with those performances.
Don't start me, please. I'm in a good mood. I don't need to be thinking about asterisks and fucking
other winners,
off-season bans and stuff like that. Harry Grant, who obviously started the game, but was in the 14 jersey, I gave him a 7. I thought he was actually really good in this game.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Fodawaker, I gave him a 7. I thought he was really good when he came into the match.
Yeah, no, he definitely had a more prominent role to play in this game, and he definitely rose to that occasion. So he definitely pulled a lot more weight this time around.
Felice Kafusi, I gave him a 2 and wrote MIA.
Yeah, I was about to say 2.
Yeah.
He's the only player in the last 2 Origin games who has done less than Jake Trbojevic.
Yeah, I would agree, which is fucking hard to do. And Callan Ponga, I gave a 4, and he came in the second half, and he did try and do some things, but it just the wrong situation to bring in a guy like him off the bench. So, he's on a bit of a hiding to nothing in that position.
I get you want to have your best players there, but I mean, if you're not going to take off one of your back 7, any of them, to allow Ponga to come in and play a legit role, what are you doing? You're either having a major impact on your forward pack, which you can't afford to do in a grinding game like this. And if you're doing that, then he's going to be spending half his time doing defence, which is not what he's there for. I don't get this. Especially given Walsh had been struggling. Like, why not bring Walsh off and put Ponga on?
That would have been the obvious way to go, I would have thought.
Yeah, I would have done that in an instant.
Because Walsh was dragging his ass around the field, and it just would have been an obvious choice, but he didn't go with it. As I said, I think he had a plan in his head going into the game, and when that plan didn't pan out, he had to keep going with it because that's his bench. You have to go with what you've got on your bench, So yeah, that's my ratings. You can find them all on LeagueFreak.com, which is one of the longest running websites, not only rugby league websites, but websites in general in the entire world.
I did some research on this.
Yeah.
And do you know what website's been running longer than LeagueFreak.com? There's only one.
What?
Google.com.
No, it's actually older than Google.
Is it now? Because I thought that when Google first started up, didn't matter what you typed into Google, there was nothing there. It's just the first response was always just LeagueFreak.com because that was the only other website that was around. It's kind of like when Alexander Graham Bell had the first phone. You only had one other person to call.
Exactly. Those were the days. I wonder, the first web search I can remember was called Alta Vista from memory. But there were a few of them. But Google wasn't one of them. Google came in later, yeah.
I don't know. I'm from the country. We didn't have the internet until last week.
Yeah, I know, exactly.
Well, that was Origin.
Listen, you live in Melbourne and your fucking internet doesn't work properly.
It's a Victorian thing.
Yeah. It's all right. It's just a shame that you don't have a solid union there to fix up the fucking lines, eh?
Yeah, or anything. There's nothing. There's been a discussion within the RFL about reviving the Great Britain Lions to replace England for tours.
I saw, and they had the Mr. Sheen out, and they were trying really hard to polish a turd.
Yeah, I mean, we remember the last Great Britain tour, don't we?
Well, they fucking don't, because they keep on saying, I think that it'll be better for marketing in Australia, and I kept on thinking about it while I was watching State of Origin, and I kept on wanting to tweet out like, oh, I wonder if Great Britain will tour, because it's just like we get to see amazing football every weekend, and they think by changing the fucking badge on the jersey, it's going to make people forget how fucking abysmal British Rugby League has been for the last 50 years.
Yes, I would like to see Great Britain come out here and they play their traditional. They come out here, right, and they'll play 2 warm-up games, which they'll lose because the first one should be against the New South Wales Origin side, and then another one against the Queensland Origin side. Then they can play against Tonga, Samoa, Fiji, Papua New Guinea, Cook Islands, New Zealand, and Australia. Right? And they come out and they can lose all of those games. And then they can go home, and then they can talk about coming back as England again.
Yeah, exactly. But they'll do it in 30 years from now while they sit at home and say, Australia should do more, as we keep on going there and propping up their entire fucking rugby league with our old players and our fringe reserve graders. I'm just over it. I'm fucking over all of them. And who cares? Slap whatever you want in your fucking stupid jersey. You're all crap players anyway. No one gives a fuck. How hard would you have to work to sell to an Australian rugby league audience? Ooh, Great Britain's coming over. The last time Great Britain were competitive and they come over here, all those people are dead.
This is the thing. The last time Great Britain were down in the Southern Hemisphere, we all remember this. Australia was so keen to play them that they didn't.
Yeah, because you can't sell it. They think that they're a draw. They think they're a draw. It's hilarious.
Let's have a look. When was the last time Great Britain won a game in Australia? Do you know when that was? It's not too far ago.
I think it was it 2005?
Close. It was 2006 in the Tri-Nations.
And it was they won a game and then there was 3 teams and they come last.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah. And they I used to hear about that over and it's like they won a test match in 91 in Australia in Melbourne. And they still talk about that wonderful moment. In another series they didn't win.
So do you know when they last won a game as Great Britain in New Zealand?
In New Zealand? What? Just a game? A single game?
Just the game. I'll give you a clue. It starts with 19.
It starts with 19. Yeah, I was going through my head and they didn't really play them much in the new millennia.
And it was against Maori.
It was against what?
The New Zealand Maori.
Oh, I don't fucking know.
1999, they beat them 22-12.
Oh, there you go.
That was their first win after that horrible day where they played Burleigh.
Oh, was it? We did a lot of research into that.
That was the first game of that tour, was the game against Burleigh, and the game against the Maori was the last game of the tour.
Okay, they finished it up with a game against the Maori. That's interesting.
Yeah, it's part of the Tri-Nations. So they played Burleigh, then they lost to Australia 42-6, then they lost to New Zealand 26-4, and then they beat the Maori 22-12, and then they went home.
When was the last time they beat New Zealand in a series in New Zealand?
That's a good one. 1993.
Wow. They really go out of their way to tour, don't they?
Actually, no. That was the last time they beat New Zealand. That series was in England.
Okay.
Hang on. New Zealand versus...
I want Great Britain versus New Zealand in a series in New Zealand.
Not that one. New Zealand versus Great Britain. Wow. No, not there. We're into the 80s. It's not going well. Here we go. No, that was a win and a draw and a loss. It's looking like it's going to be the early 80s.
Okay.
Where are we up to? I've gone back to 84.
Good for them.
We'll just have to go back another page. Just it's only 40-odd years ago, surely.
If only Australia could do more in international rugby league, hey?
Just to help them out a little bit.
Well, no, Australia just sits on their hands just propping everyone up and making all the money and producing all the players. And,
1979.
Oh, wow. How wonderful of them to grace New Zealand with their presence and do actually win a series.
Yeah, that was good. That was a good tour in 1979. That's not going well.
They're such freeloading bludgers, aren't they? They really are.
Oh, I didn't think it was that bad. I'm a bit surprised.
I remember this shit. I got a long memory with this shit. Remember when I remembered how long it was since they'd played Wales and it ended up being something stupid like 12 years or something?
Yes.
Wales. A literal bus ride.
You don't want to be doing that too often. It's too hard. It's too hard to get there.
I mean, you don't want to go to Wales, but they sit back and they criticise Australia for not playing enough international games. They won't play Wales, who's a bus ride away. They won't play Scotland, who's a bus ride away. They won't play fucking Ireland, who's a ferry ride away. And then they feel like they're doing something wonderful when they play France. And then they run out like half a team and don't even televise it.
I've got to correct it. It was 1990. I just realised I missed that tour.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. It's pretty close, though. They won the first game 11-10. They won the second game 16-14, and then they lost the third game 21-18.
So the Kiwis were robbed.
34-45. So it was actually at the end of the series, Great Britain had won 2-1, but both teams had scored 45 points.
Yeah, that sounds like the Kiwis were robbed for sure.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, yeah, that was a little walk down the Great Britain. I don't know why they're bringing this back.
Because
the reason why you bring Great Britain back is for the World Cup, so that you can do away with you pretending like Scotland, Ireland, and Wales all deserve to be there.
Yeah,
without them actually earning the right to be there as much as every other team has to. That's one of the next tier down groups. They shouldn't just be walking in there all the time like they have been. So get rid of that. Have Great Britain there. Encompass all of those teams. And then maybe look at getting another team to qualify and make it a little bit easy for someone else to get in there legitimately. Or you can have less teams in the World Cup. It's a win-win situation all the way around.
I think we should just expel Great Britain from International Rugby League.
What
would we gain out of having them around anymore?
No, you got to have pre-match entertainment, all right?
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's do away with singing and stuff like that because everyone always complains because one person's favourite artist is another person's absolute hatred one.
Don't you dare talk about my Tay-Tay like that.
I wouldn't dare. But I think we could all agree that in Australia, if Great Britain was put into the pre-match entertainment to play a game and lose, no one would be complaining about that.
No, that would be funny.
So that's their place.
Yeah.
Their pre-game entertainment.
Yeah. That'd be
and we've got to keep giving them lesser and lesser opponents until we can find one that they can beat from the Southern Hemisphere.
I know, right? We got to match them up against like fucking Vanuatu and shit.
No. They won't win that. No, it's probably North Sydney.
North Sydney. Not over in Perth.
Yeah. The North Sydney Perth Bears.
Yeah.
The North Perth Sydney Bears.
It's so funny seeing them like looking for they're looking for the silver bullet to fix all their problems, and it doesn't exist because everything below, like they don't work to fix the game. But they, let's fuck with this, let's fuck with that. And it's like, how about you work on making the game better? But they don't want to do that. We've talked about this before. It's all about, feathering their own nest, being the big man amongst small towns in northern England. They don't care about the game. They just want to be able to get free drinks when they go into fucking Swinton and places like this. Who gives a shit? Let them do it. We don't need to indulge them.
In 1984, on the 14th of April, there was a game that was played to celebrate 50 years of rugby league in France.
Uh-huh.
It was a game between Europe and Oceania.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Oceania annihilated them, 54-4.
Mm-hmm.
But what do you reckon? If Great Britain doesn't work out, the next thing they do is go, right, we're going to come and play as Europe.
Just as Europe, yeah. Why not at this point?
It was a pretty good side that we had there, and we managed to put this could have just been Australia, New Zealand, to be honest, but we put a few players in there from Papua New Guinea, and we tried to level the field as much as possible, and dominated them, destroyed them. So
in the last tour, Great Britain did. They didn't win a game, and they blamed Wayne Bennett.
That's right. He's the problem.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he's a known loser.
It wasn't Great Britain Rugby League. It was Wayne Bennett that lost that series. They don't deserve anything else.
No, that's fair. That's completely reasoned and balanced argument. Where's the holes in that? See, silent.
They just don't deserve. They don't deserve to be part of the game anymore. That's it. What we need is somebody that's rich in Australia to buy the George Hotel, take it down stone by stone, and relocate it. Remember how they did that with London Bridge? They relocated London Bridge, and it's somewhere in the US now.
Oh, really? I had no idea.
Yeah, someone bought at the London Bridge and relocated it to the US. That's what we need to do with the George Hotel. Relocate it. We'll put it. Where could we
Ropes
put
Creek.
it? Hey?
Ropes Creek.
No, Ropes Creek is a creek.
Yeah, I know.
You can't just put it in the creek.
Why not? It's just it might be a creek, but a creek needs a bank.
Where would you put all the burnt out cars if you put the fucking hotel in the creek?
This is the beauty thing about it, right? You put the hotel there, and then you've got water views. You can jack the price up on the rent.
Yeah, I guess. Where would be a good place to put it? You could put it in, I don't know, somewhere they need a tourist attraction.
North Sydney?
Tamworth.
Oh, directly opposite the big guitar.
Yeah, why the fuck not?
Yeah. You can get up every morning and look at a big guitar and go, wow.
Then you'd have the George Hotel, the big guitar, and a Macca's.
You're right. I need to get myself a few hash browns and some meth.
Yeah, exactly.
And then for lunch I'll get a tattoo. Right on the neck.
I wonder if they've got a tattoo parlor in Tamworth. What do you reckon?
They'd have more of those than they would food places, surely.
Let's look up fucking tattoo parlor in Tamworth. Hang on. My phone's slowing down because it's, when they start slowing your phone down to try and get you to get another one. Tamworth tattoo. Tamworth tattoo. Yeah, there is.
There's 20 places, surely.
Jesus. Okay, so we got Honey Ink Tattoo Studio. That sounds like the sort of place you go to if you want to get a tattoo on your vag, doesn't it? We got the Wild West Ink. We got the High Ground Tattoo Parlor. We got Empire Ink. We got, where's this? I don't know if this is still. I don't know about that one. It starts getting a bit, it doesn't say Tamworth. Oh, West Tamworth. Manav, Hannah Art. I don't know what that means.
Oh no, that's isn't Hannah Art the Indian stencil art that goes on hands and stuff?
Goes on your hands.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Or something like that.
I don't know. I'm from Western Sydney. All I know is about getting them on your fucking neck.
Yeah. Yeah. You do have some impressive neck tats, I must say.
It's the big 277 I've got across my throat. It's just subtle,
Yeah.
Well, look, if you want a tattoo and you're in Tamworth, go somewhere else. Go to Honey Ink Tamworth Tattoo Studio, Shop 20, 374 Peel Street, Tamworth. Tell them Freaky sent ya.
Yeah. Ask for the LeagueFreak logo.
Yeah,
On
I'd
your-
say tell him you were told if you come in you get 10% off of vag tats.
Oh. If we get a sponsorship deal out of this, my goodness.
We're gonna what?
We'll get a sponsorship deal out of this.
That'd be good if we did, hey?
Yeah, I tell you what, that might be the way to do it. We just start plugging them without them aware of it.
I've always wondered if you did that, if you picked a place and said like go in and say the code word, whatever, and you'll get 10% off, and just send people to a random place. They kept going in, saying some random word.
Yeah, boxing. Oh dear, well, that was entertaining.
The other one I've heard is like, if you say you go to like a restaurant, you start saying like, oh, go to this restaurant and ask for the special menu. And I actually saw this on a podcast. Somebody did this too. What's the guy that eats all the weird shit? Oh, he eats all the weird shit. His name's Andrew as well. Anyway, he eats weird shit. And there was a podcaster, and he said, and they were in New York, and he said like, where's a good place to go? And he said, go to this place, right, and take a banana with you, and hand it to the waitress, and then ask to see the special menu, and you'll get this really good feed and stuff. And it was a burger place, right? And he said, if you go with a banana and ask for the special menu, they'll cook you sushi. He was like, are you sure? And he was like, yeah. So they went and did this. It was bullshit. It was just playing a prank on them. And they were all there with bananas.
There's people turn up, waiting around all the kitchens looking and going, who the fuck are these people?
Yeah. And they were handing over the bananas, but like, I've got the banana. We should do that one day.
Try and get people to go to, to KFC and ask for like a Bondi burger.
It'd have to be somewhere different. It couldn't be like a chain place. It'd have to be somewhere small,
That's fair.
Yeah, but we won't name any names.
Yeah, that's something for Freaky to sort out for next week. Oh man, well, what else has been going on in the World of Rugby League?
Not too much. The games on the weekend were they all sucked because State of Origin takes over and rips all the best players out the competition. So it'll be good to get back into the swing of things after Origin's done and won and New South Wales won it. So we've got the run into the final series, and it's going to be good. I'm really looking forward to seeing the competition settle back down into a rhythm again.
Yeah, look, it's my only takeaway from the weekend is Brisbane are in huge trouble.
Oh, they're gone. Yeah.
The Tigers are finally doing what they were doing for the last two and a half seasons.
Mm-hmm.
So to their credit, it has taken them 17 games to get there. So that's an improvement. But, man, that performance against the Sharks was dog shit.
Mm-hmm.
Parramatta are absolutely boring to watch.
Yep.
And
now they won't have Moses.
Yeah, so there's a fair chance if the Tigers can pull their finger out, there's a chance they can avoid getting the spoon again because Parramatta and the Tigers are locked at the bottom with 4 wins each.
Yeah.
But the Tigers have got a much worse points difference now.
Mm-hmm.
Dragons are sitting on the edge of the 8. The Bulldogs are, I think, 5th now. This is the first, so their last game they played 2 weeks ago was the first time they'd played a game sitting in 5th on the ladder since 2016.
Oh, there you go.
Or 5th or higher even. So they're in uncharted territory at the moment. The Warriors are struggling hard. Didn't expect to see Brisbane, South and Parramatta this far down the ladder.
Yeah, I'm a little bit shocked by it too. And this week, Nathan Cleary comes back for the Panthers. So it's we're all starting to get set now for the finals. And
who Penrith got this week? Actually, I should get the stats out and go through that.
The Dolphins. Yeah, why not? Let's do it.
Here we go.
Let me bring up the NRL website.
The first game is the Raiders versus the Warriors. Now, 8 of the last 9 games between these sides at Bruce Stadium has seen the victor win by less than 13 points.
Mm-hmm.
And neither have lost their last 4 games at Bruce Stadium. The last time they lost 5 straight games there was 2014.
Yeah, I'm going for the Raiders. The Warriors are done.
Yeah, I seem to think that's the case too. It will be another close one as well too, I reckon. So Raiders in a tight one.
All we know is that Jordan Rapana will do something incredible that you have to see, and something so stupid, so
That you
utterly,
have to see.
so fucking stupid that you won't want to watch the game anymore.
It'll be an absolute car wreck.
Yeah.
You don't know what order they'll be in or how frequent either of them will be. The next game, Rabbitohs versus the Tigers. Souths have won 10 of their last 13 games against the Tigers, and the Tigers have won 4 of 8 games at Gosford, while Souths have won 7 of 16 games there.
I got to go for the Rabbitohs. The Tigers suck at the moment, and I think it's only going to get worse as the season goes on because they haven't got talent. So I'm going for the Rabbitohs.
Yeah, South should win this one, so Tigers by 50. I'm not allowed to be deluded. Knights versus Broncos. Newcastle have won just 11 of their 29 games at McDonald Jones Stadium against the Broncos. And Brisbane have lost their last 6 straight NRL games. It's their longest losing run since 2020 when they ran last.
Wow. I don't rate the Knights. I'll probably still go the Broncos. I just don't rate the Knights.
Likewise. And Brisbane's got to snap out. They've got too good a squad not to snap out of this.
Yeah.
So I'll go the Broncos in this one. Storm v the Roosters. Melbourne have won 13 of their last 17 games against the Roosters in Melbourne. The Roosters have won 6 of their last 13 games outside of New South Wales.
This is an important game because the Roosters could potentially move up into a race for a top 2 spot, which is pretty important. And the Storm, a win here, it's one of the games that they would probably mark down as if they can win this, they should be a long way to securing the minor premiership.
Yep.
So I'm going to go with the Storm in this one.
I'm not sure.
Ooh.
I think I might go Roosters.
Ooh, why?
I don't know. Just a weird hunch.
That's enough.
That's enough. That'll do me.
Yeah.
Panthers v Dolphins. Let's have a look at some mad stats here. Penrith have won 24 of their last 30 games at Bluebet Stadium against sides from outside of Sydney since 2017.
They could do better.
28 of the 48 games played by the Dolphins has seen them concede at least 20 points.
Oh, wow.
All 5 of their games in Sydney has seen them concede at least 24, and they've won just 1 of those 5 games in Sydney. So defensively, from day one, they have not been great. And with Cleary coming back, this could be messy. So I'm going Penrith by 70.
I think Penrith will win. I just hope it's not raining for once. I'm sick of seeing Panthers play in the rain.
What's the weather like for Penrith this weekend?
I got no bloody idea. Can you look it up?
I'll have a look.
Okay.
What day is it on?
Sunday.
Is it Sunday?
Sunday, 2 p.m.
Sunny and 18, mate.
Oh, there we go. Finally.
Yeah. So there you go. Penrith will rack up 70 there.
Excellent.
Manly versus the Titans. This is a crazy one because the Titans have won 6 of their last 8 games at Brookvale.
That's interesting.
I didn't expect that one. The other one is Manly have scored 263 points in their last 8 games at Brookie, winning 7 of those games. That's an average of 33 points per game.
Am I weird to kind of think the Titans might win it?
I'm thinking they might pull one out of the bag here.
Yeah, okay. I'm going to go for the Titans then. I don't know why, but I just have a feeling.
It's just another one of those weird hunch ones.
Yeah.
And the last game of the round, Cowboys versus the Bulldogs. Cowboys have won just 3 of their last 9 games at their home ground.
Wow.
15 of their last 20 games at home, the Cowboys have conceded at least 20 points in those games.
I'm going for the Bulldogs in this one. I think that they'll be too strong.
Yep, I agree. Bulldogs by 12.
Excellent.
There we go. Man, we smashed through that.
Yeah. It's it's so good to have the competition going back to just more stable environment. Everyone's available, and we've got to run into the finals, which will be really fun. And this is the time. It's now everyone gets to sort of maneuver and find their finishing places. And I think a lot depends on who finishes in that top two. I think that's crucial. You've got to finish in that top two if you want to win the premiership.
Yep, absolutely. Should have a look to how the ladder's looking. One thing we haven't done this year is the mid-season review. Bit late now.
Oh yeah, we didn't do that. Yeah. You know what we should do in the next episode is go through the ladder predictor and say where we think everyone will end up finishing.
A run home review.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, or a preview, I guess. It would be, wouldn't it?
Preview would be the correct word.
Yeah.
But yeah, at this stage we've basically got, I'd say, Brisbane, Titans, and South. They're both. All three of them are 2 wins away from 8th place. So they are very close to being out of the race.
Mm.
Parramatta and Tigers are done. They're 5 wins away from 8th. Fuck me, that's bad.
Mm.
The minor premiership race is slightly open, not hugely.
Mm-hmm.
But we do have the Roosters, the Sharks, both have a bye to have. So that puts them both equal on competition points with Penrith and Melbourne.
Mm-hmm.
Is that right?
No, Melbourne's ahead of Penrith.
Yeah, that's right. So the Roosters and the Sharks will both have 28 points, which will put the Roosters above Penrith because their points difference is a lot higher, and also put the Sharks above Penrith for the same reason. Mm-hmm. So Penrith are going to need to bring out a few big scores to make sure they get ahead of those two sides on the points difference. Because at the moment, Penrith's points difference is 116, Sharks is plus 125, and the Roosters is plus 225.
Yeah. I think the thing with the Panthers, because I'd be shocked if the Storm didn't win the minor premiership at this stage. I think they'd have to really stumble pretty hard for the Panthers to win it from this point on. But I think that in terms of the Sharks and the Roosters, Penrith would be pretty comfortable going to either of those home grounds if they ended up having to do that way and winning there.
Yes.
Especially Shark Park, where that last time I went there, they just absolutely they shut them down and then smashed them. So,
well, the bias thing, it also means that Manly and the Cowboys and the Dragons have all got a bye in hand, so they will all move up 2 points, which will push Canterbury and the Dolphins down a whack.
Mm-hmm.
So that battle around there for the top, even for 5th down to 9th or 10th is really close.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is. It's pretty cool, huh?
It is. Brisbane still have a bye, which helps them a little bit, but the Titans and South don't. So that probably puts them a little bit more out of the race, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
So it might just be down to 13th. They're currently still in the competition. The rest are just they're done.
I just think for the Broncos, like, even if by some miracle they do jag a place in the top 8, I just think that they're going to be in the bottom half of the ladder, and to win from that point, like, they would have to go on such a significant run. Like, just it'd have to be some absolutely crazy run. And eventually you're going to run into the Storms and the Panthers of the world. And I just can't see a team that's had to rely on a crazy run being able to keep that going through those teams.
No, I fully agree. They don't have a horrible run home, but we'll get into this in the next episode. But they've got the potential to get there. But yeah, what they do once they get there, though, is going to be a completely different story. And that's the thing, having a soft run into the finals,
mm-hmm.
it might help you get there, but it's not going to help you when you are in there.
Yeah, exactly.
So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, we'll preview the chase to the finals and go through the ladder predictor.
Yeah, we could even do the finals predictions too, hey?
Absolutely.
That'd be good fun.
I might even muck around and see if I can get the Tigers into the finals.
Is it even? I guess it is possible. Everyone would have to, although it is pretty congested, it'd have to be some sort of miracle of losses, wouldn't it, for everyone else?
And the Tigers have to have a lot of very large victories.
Yeah.
But we can factor that in.
Worth a shot.
Yeah, Benji Marshall will come out of retirement to guide them in.
Isn't it crazy how much pressure has been put on Benji Marshall? And you look at their lineup, and they've got very few players that are genuine first graders, and yet people expected more of them this year. It's like, I just don't know what people expected out of them.
I think what we find is people have been conditioned to this media absolute bloodlust for coaches to get sacked.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what it is. If you've had a few losses in a row, then, we want to make sure that we can try and get this coach sacked. I mean, I'm surprised they haven't come after Kevin Walters yet. He's had 6 losses in a row.
I think they will eventually.
I mean, his last win was May 17.
Yeah. And look, I would say the same. I would say the same thing about him. He's dealing with his first choice halfback is injured long term. His second choice halfback got injured. He's had players coming in and out for Origin. Like, he's had to deal with a lot of stuff in that team. He's having to reshuffle it every week. I don't blame Kevin Walters for what's happened at the Broncos. I kind of look at it and think they got off to a not so great start, and then all of a sudden they've had all these injuries, and it's like, what are you supposed to do at some point?
Yeah, just as I was starting to build a bit of momentum, Origin and injuries all just crippled them at the same time.
Yeah.
But the game against the Dragons on the weekend, while it wasn't impressive, it was good to see that Katoni Staggs really did rise to the occasion.
Mm-hmm.
The captaincy, he's had it twice this year. It has made him play better.
Yeah.
So that's been a good thing. Hopefully, if he can keep that form up, it might be enough to get them that, jag that win against the Knights this weekend and get them started on a bit of a run.
Yeah.
Is what they need. But yeah, he has been good. They do have a lot of games in Queensland coming up too. So I think actually this is their last time venturing outside of Queensland for the rest of the season before the finals.
Oh, that'll be handy for them.
So that helps.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's pretty much it.
Excellent.
No Formula One this weekend on our Formula One podcast.
Excellent. And yeah, now we get stuck back into the NRL completely, and it's going to be great.
It really, really is. The final run home to the big dance.
Can Penrith make it 4 in a row? There's not many teams ever have won 4 in a row.
No, I think we discussed this before. Like, the last team to do it was that Dragon side.
Yeah, it was.
So that's some pretty exclusive group right there.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of hope they do.
I think if we get to week 1 of the finals and they win that first game of the finals, whoever it's against, and then they get the bye, it's going to feel very, very ominous.
Oh, yeah.
So we'll see what happens.
I'll tell you what, and this is the reason why I want it as well, okay, is because, being an historian, seeing those great runs that teams had in the 20s and the 30s, 50s, 60s, blah, 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 and never having experienced what it was like seeing that.
Yeah.
To be on the cusp of seeing that now, I'm kind of excited to see how that will go. And I can say, yeah, I finally got to live through one of those runs. And that's the thing is that, yeah, they're not my team, but it doesn't have to be.
Mm-hmm.
We got to say that, as much as we hated having to endure it, we got to see that unbelievable Queensland side dominate Origin for years, which will probably never, ever be repeated by either side.
Yeah, true.
And that was the first time anyone in the modern day got to experience what New South Wales was doing for 60-odd years beforehand.
Mm.
And so it's just, it's good to be able to say that you experienced that, whether you enjoyed the experience or not. You can say, yeah, I did get to see that. I did get to see those unbelievable talents playing at that time. And so that's what we're on the cusp of here. And I think too many people are just jumping on the hate wagon because, tall poppy syndrome and not appreciating what they could be about to be witnessing.
I think that's why winning the premiership last year was so emotional for me, because it was that, like, oh my God, it happened to us. Like, this is, as I've said before, I was like finishing the final boss for rugby league. It's like, oh my God, we're one of those teams, because you win one premiership, that's fantastic. You remember that forever. You defend your premiership, oh my God, that's incredible. But to win 3 in a row is like, it was just, it's something else, it's just something completely different. So, yeah.
Especially think of some of the teams we've had, like that we've witnessed. Those Broncos sides in the 90s.
Yep, the Raiders.
The Raiders, my God. The Raiders of the early 90s never did it.
Storm.
The Storm. Never did it. Even when they cheated, they never did it.
Well, you think of just winning back-to-back titles was so fucking difficult for anybody to do for so long.
Yeah.
And Penrith won 3 in a row. It's like, far out. Holy shit.
It is remarkable.
And lost the grand final the previous year too. Like, if they made the grand final, they'd be in 5 straight grand finals, which in itself is ridiculous.
Correct. I might almost state too, Nathan Cleary's only 245 points away from equaling Ryan Girdler's record for most points for the Panthers.
I reckon he's going to do it, hey?
Yeah, I'm wondering when. End of next year?
Yeah, you think so.
It'll be before then.
It all depends on, in terms of injuries and stuff. It's weird. He keeps on getting injured around mid-season, and then he's, thankfully, touch wood, right for the end of the year. So, the last couple of years he's had those injuries mid-year. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah. There you go. That's something to keep an eye on. Alrighty, we'll wrap this fella up and put it to bed. Thanks for joining. Thanks for checking us out, everyone. Make sure to check us out on the socials and on YouTube. Subscribe, that would be fantastic. We're on Twitter at Fergo Freak Pod. We're on Instagram at the same place. So check us out there. That'll be sweet. And we'll catch us all next time.